Hello and welcome to the Claret Brew podcast. I'm your host, Dan Rowlandson, joined by Matt Kendrick and John Townley. Where is John Townley? For those that are watching, the eagle-eyed amongst you, you'll notice there's a big black rectangle where John's face should be. We said we were going to record at 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning. It's 10 past 8 now. We couldn't wait any longer, could we? We're going to have to get on with the Claret Brew without him.
Imagine he's just, head on the pillow, dreaming of Istanbul in May. Shame we haven't got a John Cam where we can just, like Spring Watch or something, where we can just go behind the scenes and just see him in his slump. Like, that makes me sound like a right weirdo. He's overslept, we think, but he's had quite the week, so we're going to forgive him.
Yeah, for those that listened to the Q&A on Monday, and if you do go back and listen to that because it was a great episode, he told us about his car breaking down on the way back from Bournemouth, his roof was leaking, burst pipes, and his TV broke. So maybe his bed's fallen through the ceiling or something.
And the revelation there is that he's got a TV. So.
We're going to talk about the Villa Park atmosphere and a few different bits and pieces around Villa Park, the home form, the need to win, how many games left, etc. This is sparked from a comment in the mailbag from Christian, who said, with our best three midfielders all unavailable at the moment, we've lost our drive, especially with the absence of McGinn, our leader. With those three missing, we have become safe and unwilling to take risks to make things happen. We need to find a way to create. Just an observation. This leads me on to my question, which is regarding the Villa Park crowd. Over my 35 years of following Villa, the Villa Park faithful have always been reactive and not proactive. When things are good, the support is good. When the chips are down, we're quick to get on their backs. I'm hoping you'll all agree that we need everybody behind the team in the next few weeks. Unai came to Villa because of our history and pedigree, and he feels he can be successful here, and we need to support him, especially now. We are worried about the Madrid links, so let's help him, make him feel he's wanted, and we are with him all the way. It's Villa against the world, and that needs to be our mentality. I don't get to Villa Park much anymore because of the cost, but I will be there on Wednesday to support the boys from the lower Holt. Love the pod and the positivity you have. Keep it up. What's your initial reaction to that message?
I think it's a valid point, Dan. We do tend to do most of the post-matches after the home games. And if we've won the game and the atmosphere's flat, we kind of gloss over it. We've obviously had a couple of setbacks at home in recent weeks. I do think fans have a part to play. The difficulty is, although we consider ourselves a collective with the Claret Brew faithful, with a Villa Park massive, whatever you want to say, that's made up of 40,000 individuals. And not everybody is going to enjoy the same match day experience in terms of the chanting, the unflinching positive support, the holding back the grumbles when things don't go well. I think it's a really, really interesting one because I knew we were going to chat about this today, and I've been giving it a little bit of thought. And I always come back to what can I do to personally influence the game. I don't know, Dan. I do my best. There's still some, believe it or not, regular watchers of this. I still have some inhibitions, so I don't want to be starting chants at the top of the Trinity on my own. I know my son would take great delight if I did that and it fell flat. But I think there are ways to contribute. I don't think the atmosphere is probably lively enough or partisan enough when we're playing what we consider lower jeopardy games. Now, I think every game that we play at the moment is a high jeopardy game because the stakes are so high. But if you're talking about like Manchester United, who have been like bitter rivals or a bogey team for so long, we can get ourselves up for that. Arsenal, who some kind of random beef has developed with Arsenal this season, we can get ourselves up for that. This is going to go out before Brighton. Do Brighton fall into the same category as Brentford? In a way, we know they're really good, strong opponents, but there's no real history there. There's no real scout there as such. We're Aston Villa. We can roll them over without us contributing. And I don't know how we get over that as a fan base, because, I'll shut up in a minute. This is a long answer.
There's only two of us today. We need to do extra talking.
Yeah. I think sometimes, like the fireworks before every game and stuff, I think that's OTT, but I think Villa are trying to do their bit.
Yeah.
I've spoken about the stadium announcer before. They're trying to do their bit. I don't know what more the club can do other than give us a brilliant manager, a brilliant football team, and try and, create that atmosphere around the edges. I
Mm.
think the responsibility does fall onto us. I just don't know how, as an individual, we grasp it really.
Yeah, and we've seen things in the past of initiatives from like the 1897 group of bring a scarf to every game, and I think that was that Man United the first time that was like a proper thing, and there was a few, not everybody did it. That's the kind of thing that should just be done by default really and falls away, and I've seen them calling for it for the rest of the season, and it's like, oh, what a great idea, and it's like, yeah, we did try this 3 months ago, and it didn't really work. It's the kind of thing that should just stick. You see a lot of stuff from other clubs about like wearing the colours or not, and it kind of looking drab if everyone comes in big black coats, but it's freezing cold. So, what you're supposed to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of contributing factors, I think, to atmosphere, weather, kick-off time, ticket prices, the 4 different stands of a stadium as well. Like you say, there's 40,000 individuals. We both sit in the Trinity. John sits in the press box. He's not going to be doing much towards the atmosphere, I wouldn't have thought. But our perspectives will be different for somebody who sits in the upper hole and stands all game and doesn't shut up all game. But and I'm keen to stress this relatively early in this, there's no right or wrong way necessarily to go to Villa Park and support the team. If you want to sit there quietly watching the game and clapping and cheering when we score, that's fine. If you want to stand there all game, shouting your lungs out and going to work the next day with no voice, that's fine as well. Everybody's allowed to do what they want to do. Do we have to go there and support the team to get them over the line? Or do we have to go and be entertained before we kind of get our bums off seats a little bit? And that's a kind of chicken or the egg scenario, isn't it?
You think about the previous home game against Brentford, and, we'd got the homecoming of Tammy and Douglas Luiz. It sparked, I thought, a decent atmosphere before the game, which you never normally tend to see much of. Are we infected by nervousness a little bit? So, if we're 1-0 up within the first 25 minutes, I don't know, does that spark, does that make us relax and we can all have a sing-song? Or does that mean, oh, well, they're doing it without us, so we can all...
Where's the second goal?
We can all chill out. I think it's something we need to get over as a mental block, that our team... And listen, there's a lot of experienced football fans and a lot of rookie football fans, but there's a lot of people who've been watching Villa for years in that crowd. I think we need to get over that kind of mental barrier, that just because it's a team that doesn't offer us up a grudge match or doesn't offer us up a scalp, doesn't mean that our team, and our players and our coach need us any less.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Genuinely, I would love it if we could all turn up against Brighton and think, right, okay, we've got 3 months left of what could become a historic season if we can, as a collective, as players, as fans, as the whole Aston Villa family, if we can really, really take this to the rest of the Premier League and the rest of the Europa League, we can really do something. When you rock up and you've had a hard day at work and you don't know where to park and you're rushing because your season ticket on your phone won't go in, it's fine, isn't it? But it's fine thinking we're all going to come in and take it to the rest of football. But personal things affect that, and I am concerned about it, Dan, because I've said this. This has been a theme running through the podcast since we became good. That entitlement, it's such a horrible, scary, damaging state of mind to be in.
But this expectancy that I'm going to go on Wednesday and we're going to win, and if we're not, I'm going to be angry and I'm going to boo and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen.
I'm not going to do that, by the way, just as an example.
No, but what I would say is I haven't really seen the negativity too much on match days. I've seen it flat, and I've seen it times when we probably need to come forward and really offer partisan support. That's been missing. But I think Emery, pretty much from day one, I always hark back to his first game against Manchester United. I think he's re-educated us and conditioned us into the fact that you can accept slow build-up, etc., etc. So I don't think it's the presence of negativity. I think it's probably the absence of positivity. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a nice way of framing it, because being quiet and nervous isn't outwardly negative, i.e. booing or jeering, but it's not positive. So it's by default a little bit more negative than it is positive. John's spoken before about this need or desire to just get over the line, and it's time now to win a trophy, right? We've got a great opportunity. Get over the kind of hoodoo of we're this plucky underdog who doesn't win anything. Like, let's not do ourselves down all the time. Yeah, we're the favourites for the Europa League. Go and win it then. And he's been very brave and bold about that. I think there is this odd kind of nervousness to, and we've spoken about it before, this kind of self-deprecation or self-preservation of, well, I don't want to expect too much, because when it doesn't happen, I can be relaxed in the idea of, well, I knew it was all going to fall apart. I think it should be the opposite. I am going to go to Villa Park on Wednesday and expect to win, because I'm going to believe in the team to go and do the job. We've got 7 home games remaining. I want to go and win all of them. I'm not saying we're going to, of course. I know that we're hit with injuries and whatnot. But if we go there nervous and this idea of like, we might drop out of the European places, I don't know why we have that kind of collective, it's kind of this worries me attitude I see it as. I'm very wary. This podcast is going out to thousands of people and everybody's got their own way of supporting the club. And I am not telling anybody what to do or how to support the team or how to feel. I can only give my opinion. But I can't go to these next 7 games and think, oh, I'm scared of this game today, because that will come across in the way I feel about the game. I've got to go there with some kind of positivity.
I think you've just done a character assassination of me there, because that's very much my default setting.
Why then?
I think it's years and years of it, and I think you're talking about rewiring people in their DNA. You know, I can turn up at Villa Park on Wednesday thinking, oh God, you know, we've had this formidable home record, and then the last 3 games at home, you know, we've lost to Everton when we should have done better, lost to Brentford when we should have done better. We've pulled a victory from the jaws of defeat in the Europa League with a really kind of poor first half performance and stuff. Is that it? You know, is this the latest version of Villa, you know, flirting with us and then pulling the rug? I can turn up with that, but I can still turn up with that and park that within my own anxiety and my own, you know, whatever nervousness, and still contribute to those chants, still kind of really bring my own very limited version of energy to it. I don't think you could. I think if somebody's predisposed to be like that, you know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
I just think there's ways of wearing that. The people like me who do feel that, maybe we get our frustrations and our anxieties and our nervousness out by chanting, by being positive, by applauding, by, you know, trying to energise the people around us.
It does make a difference. You often see players, not just Villa, but other clubs will talk about, you know, the atmosphere and the fans getting us over the line and being that extra 10% or whatever. So it does genuinely make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say about other football clubs, there's 19 other football clubs in the Premier League, and obviously me and you very rarely travel away. John's there kind of every week by virtue of the role that he does, and there's a hardcore Villa away army who are there every week. If you speak to them, not all of them, but if you speak to some of them, I think the message that you'll get back is that this is not a problem that's peculiar to Aston Villa. Yeah, you know, there's lots of, you know, it tends to be the way, doesn't it, that the away fans tend to be the ones who are bringing it, whereas the home fans are, I don't know, shit.
There will be people that think, well, I've spent my money, I can go to the game however I want. If I want to sit there in silence, that's up to me. And yeah, that is up to you. That's fine. But if 40,000 people do that, it's very difficult for the stadium to hold any kind of energy that the players need. And the manager talks about, we need Villa Park, we need the support. We've got 7 huge games coming up at home. We talk about maybe needing to win 7 out of 13. The fact that 7 at home, I'm not saying we're going to go and win them all, but you're probably best placed to win your home games, right? Given the record we've had over the last couple of seasons under Unai. So there's opportunity. It's 7 cup finals, however you want to talk about it. And we don't tend to fare well in cup finals, so maybe that's not the right attitude. They're all going to be difficult games, and we're going to have to do our bit. The team are going to have to do their bit to get over the line and work really hard. For this team, it's not within me to just turn up and think, oh, well, we're probably going to struggle today and we might lose. I'll always predict us to win, however stupid that might be. But I think the atmosphere does have a part to play in this as well. And this is kind of you're a bad fan because you don't chant. We sit in the Trinity. I'm sure most people can imagine what our match day looks like. You get involved a little bit. It's just the way it is.
Is that a good enough excuse, you think, Dan, that we sit in the Trinity? Should us young'uns be the ones who are starting things off in the Trinity?
Know. I mean, this is probably becomes into a wider point about, like you say, about home crowds, I suppose, that it is different to away fans. The mentality is different. demographic is potentially different. You know, is it the family stand, the Trinity? It has a family section. You've got hospitality segments as well. Like it is just different. Is there any stadium in world football where every stand is the same as the other in terms of atmosphere and stuff? There's always like a cop end, isn't there? A whole end of Dortmund's yellow wall. You've all got a segment like that. If I stood up chanting on Wednesday night in the 14th minute, I'd be on my own. I'm not going to do that. And everyone else will be thinking the same. But if 1,000 people in the lower Trinity also stood up at the same time, maybe 5,000 more also stand up. Like, it takes everybody to play their part, but nobody wants to play their part because no one wants to be the odd one out, which is crazy, isn't it?
It's hard though, Dan, isn't it? Because, you know, I'm a massive bald hypocrite, as you know, and I'm always digging out. I don't like things when artificially generated and stuff. Things should come naturally. But what's the chances of, you know, 1,000 people just on that exact moment, unless you orchestrate it by saying, you know, in the...
Get a megaphone out.
I don't know, what number does Kamara wear? 44?
Oh, we don't want the eggs. Everyone goes down for their half-time pie. That's another thing.
Okay, well, 7 then for McGinn. In honour of John McGinn, we're all going to get to our feet and sing Super John McGinn or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Everyone sits down on the 8th.
Yeah, all right. Well, who's 8? Tielemans?
Yeah, it's convenient, isn't it?
The squad numbers go, you know, they've probably got somebody who wears number 89 now in the youth team.
We'll do a minute's appreciation for number 9, Harvey Elliott, after that.
That's it, yeah. God, my feet are going to be aching after all of this. But it is that, and I think, well, let's get on to it. Is it the makeup of a Premier League crowd now? Is it full of grizzly old hangers-on like me who have been damaged by experience that, you know, although Unai's got us daring to dream again, you know, we're not dreaming quite as much as John Townley now. Right now, we're holding something back. Not blaming the tourist fan, if you like, but, you know, are they going to bring the same vibe as, I don't know, your kind of match-going fan, your regular match-going fan? I don't know, but I think you've got all this mixture of individuals and supporting styles and various levels of optimism and anxiety. You know, you've got people like me who don't think things should be stage managed. So if they're not stage managed, you're hoping for things to just emerge organically. You're asking for quite a chemical reaction.
Yeah.
Just out of the blue. I've got to think of what kind of lens am I looking at it through, because, you know, as a young man, I was in the Holt End when it was a standing terrace, and then when it became an all-seater. And in my mind's eye, I suspect that the atmosphere was a lot better back then. But was it a lot better because I'm a teenager and I've got more energy and I'm in the hardcore, so I'm right in it. I'm right in the Holt End. So, you know, it's going to seem louder and more vibrant when you're in the eye of the storm than it is if you're sat.
Yeah.
Is it because, you know, it's, I don't know, nostalgia, claret and blue tinted specs, and I'm just remembering it that way?
You don't remember the games when it was crap?
There were probably games where it was flat and boring, etc., etc. So I think it's all of those kind of things. And we've just said that the rest of the Premier League is like it. So, well, you've said this before, Dan, haven't you? You've said, well, we are Aston Villa. We should be able to do things differently. You know, why aren't we the examples? Why can't we set ourselves apart? Which is great in theory. Yeah. It's massive bias because it's our club. Why should we be any different to any other club? And, you know, you can fold in the ticket price thing. I know there's a little bit of fallout about the Leeds tickets. I mean, that's ridiculous, the fact that it can be considered a premium game because it kicks off at 3 on a Saturday, you know. And I know that's generated extra interest. So, you know, dynamic pricing or whatever, you know, if the demand's there, you know, crank up the prices. But if you are that fan who is having to pick and choose for financial reasons, or because you're on the season ticket list, or you can't get there because of work reasons, family reasons, or whatever, and you're turning up, do you turn up and think, well, I only come here 3 or 4 times a season, so I'm going to give you absolutely everything? Or do you think, you know, I know from watching Villa on the telly that they're pretty good at home, so I can turn up, guarantee that we're going to win the game. And when you've paid your 70 quid times 2, plus your kids' tickets, plus your burgers and your pint and stuff like that, and it's not quite going well. Why should you be the one?
Yeah. I paid 300 quid
sparks,
for this. What's this?
Who sparks that into life? So it's all these things are at play. It's not a simple thing of, we supporters. The word support is a clue. We should be there and we should be giving it loads all the time. I actually believe that we should, but there's so many things that influence that means that we don't, or that means that even if we do, unless we go in there with 100 mates, and we've all got 100 mates, have you? No, I haven't, mate, to be honest. Just one other quick thing while it's in my head. When you're saying, does it make a difference to the players? I mean, maybe this is me being naive. I think it does, because if it doesn't, why do you get, I don't know, Emi Martinez, after he's made a save, kind of trying to whip up
it does make a difference,
or the North Stand? And why do you get players after winning a crunching tackle who was like, come on then, right, we've done that, let that spark everybody. It's not like, if it was at the snooker where, Matty Cash has just won a crunching tackle, the ball's going out for a throw-in, but he thinks, listen, we really need to concentrate to defend this throw. Do you know what I mean? Shh. Do you know what I mean? It does make a difference. It must make a difference.
Yeah, do you not remember how poor the 2021 season was? The whole thing behind closed. I can't barely remember a single game of that.
Watkins had a little, I wouldn't say it was even a moan. I thought it was a very honest response. Was it the Forest game? I can't remember when it was. It was
around that time, yeah.
Yeah, it was effectively calling out that kind of sense of expectation, really. And I think people try to take some of his stuff out of context. I think he said, people are turning up expecting us to win every week. And then people who are taking issue with that, yeah, we are. We do expect to win. But I think what he was saying was, it's not that straightforward. We do need people. We do need people behind us.
Yeah.
And I do think, so, if we're saying that, Matty Cash whipping up the crowd after a tackle, or Emi Martinez whipping up the crowd after a save, or Ollie Watkins, talking about, the players' frustration at the end of a match, it clearly does make a difference.
Yeah.
And, we're the first to criticise, aren't we, when a particular player has a below 5 out of 10 performance and so didn't turn up. I don't know. Again, it depends what lens you look at this through. But I'm probably a 6 out of 10 fan
at best, yeah.
Most weeks, and and then I'll rock up for the big games, and I'll be a kind of 8 or 9.
A great way of looking at it. I wonder how other people assess their own kind of support, I guess. I don't really know what this episode achieves, right? Like, we just wanted to talk about the topic sent in. This has been a kind of honest, open conversation. We tried to look at different side of the arguments, right? We both sit in the same place. We probably think the same things, but we try to look at different points of view as well. And there'll be different people in the comments, absolutely. We've said there are thousands of Villa fans who will all support the team differently, and some people will agree with what we said and some people will disagree, and that's fine. I am interested to see what the reaction is. I'm interested to see what John would have thought, to be honest, as a different perspective, but he didn't turn up, did he?
John, can you leave us a comment?
Yeah, if you stay to the end, John, leave leaky roof in the comments. But yeah, this isn't a plea for, we need the atmosphere to be better. Come on, Villa fans, we're better than this, because it's not us. It's not on us to do that. We can ask for encouraging initiatives to bring a scarf tomorrow. The 1897 group are trying to organise that. We've got an audience. Let's share that message. But if someone sits next to me tomorrow and they haven't bought a scarf, I'm not going to be calling them a shit fan, because everybody's just different, right? Villa Park and English football as a general thing probably has a bit of an atmosphere problem across the board. We're not the ones to fix that, but we do go to games. So it's on all of us to fix it if we want it to be better.
This comes into sharp focus when we lose a couple of games.
Yeah.
I don't think the atmosphere at Villa Park has been... There's been moments, but I don't think it's been fantastic all season, yet we've been formidable at Villa Park. If we beat Brighton 2-0, a goal after half an hour and then a goal after 70 minutes, and there's a couple of cheers for the goals, and that's it, nobody's going to leave Villa Park complaining, are they? When you hear... I mean, it's very hypothetical. People saying, if you want a competition to play for Aston Villa's first team, what would you be like? I'd be like John McGinn. I'd cover every blade of grass and I'd run around and I'd do this and I'd, even if I wasn't any good, I'd cover everybody. Well, probably not me with my fitness, but I'd give it everything I got. Basically, I'd be interested. I don't know whether what I'm really getting at with this, but I'd be interested if there's people in the comments who don't get to Villa Park very often because they're expats or they live in different countries anyway. They're from different countries, or they just can't get to the game. What would they be like if they were there? Do you know what I mean? Do they?
I'm sure they would say, "Oh, I would start the chance. I'd be all for it. I don't get to go very often, but if you sit in the lower Trinity, you got no chance. If that's where you end up, you will get people going, what's he doing?"
We all love the stadium. It's a beautiful stadium, and I'm probably making a massive assumption here, but I assume the majority of people would like to stay at the stadium, even if the stadium evolves and grows in terms of capacity and stuff. Yeah, the acoustics of it, in terms of getting a chant from the Holt end all the way around the ground without it sounding like, what's it called in singing when somebody starts and then you...
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but I know what you mean.
That makes it difficult as well, because you want a chant that can carry around with everybody going at it, but it becomes so kind of bitty.
Is that because the two longer stands aren't joining in, so it gets disjointed from one into the other?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it'd be great, wouldn't it, if you've got a singing section in each of the four stands? And I think you have got one you've obviously got the biggest choir in the whole end, and you've got a singing section in the north stand. But yeah, it's almost like like an electrical connection, that something falls loose when it gets to us boring gits on the two touch lines. But yeah, I don't know, Dan. Like I say, I need to up my own game before I get too moany and gripey about other people not upping their game.
Yeah, and I hope that comes across in the right way, right? If we were both stood in the Holt and singing our lungs out every game, this might come across as like we're better than everybody else and you should all get to our level. We're probably the two people that, as well as 20,000 others, we're contributing to everyone else. Yeah, we're sitting there in silence tomorrow night for periods of the game because that's just the way it is. I don't know what, if anything, this episode has achieved. I just wanted to kind of spark the conversation. This was sent into the mailbag. It could have been a 5-minute topic in yesterday's Q&A, but we've managed to do half an hour as a standalone episode and kind of talk about it properly and openly as well. And this is how we feel about it. Maybe John will talk to us at some point in the future on another episode. Maybe he won't. Who knows? Is he allowed back? Does he get like a 1-game ban for not turning up?
I think if he needs to catch up on his sleep in future, you'd probably Villa Park on a match night. He's probably in the Trinity.
Thanks everyone for watching along or listening to this episode of the Claret Brew podcast. We'll be back for the post-match show on Wednesday night. That'll be you and me, won't it?
It will be, yeah. It will be. Yeah, won't have any voices left, obviously. But
late on Wednesday night, then we'll see you again for the next one. Thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Yeah, P.I.A. Yeah, P.I.A.
Sit down.